morning.
Good morning, everybody. We are leaving this morning from Elizabeth Harbor, and we are on our way at least to Long Island. We have winds out of the south that are light. We're going east-southeast, so we're looking at close hauled in 8 to 10 knots of wind, maybe 5. So it should be a real easy sail. And then once we get there, we're only 160 miles from right here all the way to Mayaguana, which is about the halfway point, roughly speaking. So if the winds hold, and if they look like they're going to be good, we might continue on to Mayaguana. That's only about a 30-hour run in light winds. So that means that if we leave right now and we go the whole way, we should be there in the early afternoon tomorrow. And that would be really fortuitous. I don't know if we're going to stop in Long Island or if we're going to continue to Mayaguana. And we might not know until we see the winds. We've spent the last hour cleaning up the boat and getting ready to go, putting the dinghy on the deck, taking the sail covers off. And we're going to motor down to the south end of the harbor and exit down there. It'll give us a better point of sail going to Long Island.
So we are underway from Georgetown to Long Island, probably, depending on the wind. We're going to go further. This morning I finished baking the bread. We finished the water filter so that we are topped up on our drinking water, and then we put the water filter away, and there's always a few last minute supplies that we have to find homes for right before we leave. I try to make sure we have a good breakfast before we leave, because sometimes when we're sailing, food is a little bit, it's not quite as easy to get. It's hard to cook down there when the boat's moving. I have some laundry hanging downstairs because it was rinsed and drying on the line last night, because we got it all salty, and salt just attracts water, and I thought we'd probably want that taken care of.
Well, we do a last walkthrough too.
Yes, we do.
We walk through everything, make sure everything's smooth, make sure the deck is clear.
With usually 2 or 3 people will do that, just to make sure there's enough eyes on it, so that everything is put away as best we can, and we'll see what that actually looks like when we get somewhere.
And it's easy to ignore because here we are with calm seas and nothing going on in the harbor. But as soon as we round and go outside, you don't want to be putting stuff away then.
Yeah.
You want it all done now.
Yeah.
We're playing catch.
Yeah, so I mean, even our forward hatch is still open right now. And we might got to make sure to close that before we turn the corner up here.
I mean, any discussion of what it's like is if it hasn't been done before the boat starts rocking and rolling. I mean, you can say play catch, but it's more like something that's happening and you need 4 hands. Because it's going.
You got to hold on yourself while you're grabbing the stuff that's falling.
And everything is going every which way. There's no way to control any of it. So it has to be done ahead.
We had talked about staging at an anchorage just right over there to the starboard, and being ready to go this morning earlier, but we have a hard time staging a day early.
Yeah. It's like there's so much to get done. We're still figuring out what we have to have on the boat and where to keep it, and it's hard to keep things in sailing readiness and have it be something that's livable. Like my plants I put away a couple days ago. That means they've lost a couple days of sun already, so I may never have ginger and turmeric that comes from that. We'll see.
So winds are almost never as predicted. You can get close, but instead of having a beam reach going in with winds out of the south, our winds are out of the east-southeast, and we are headed almost due into the wind. We are close hauled, and we're doing about 4 knots in 9 knots of wind, and we're just like 20 degrees off the wind. She's pointing pretty well. I'm tempted to put the centerboard down and see if she points any better. There's a really light swell out here on about a 9.5 second period, maybe 10. I think it's probably about a 3-foot swell coming from almost due east. No, 060 east northeast. The wind is a little bit farther east than that at about 110. There's some light waves coming from that direction, but the swells I'm talking about are coming from the northeast. We're going to see if we stop at Long Island or if we can continue on to Rum Cay. And it might depend on what time we get there. We got a little bit of a late start, and if we get there at sunset, we'll probably pull in if it's before sunset, but if it's after sunset, we may keep going.
Well, whatever it is.
So we're doing an experiment. This is a hat that I got while I was flying in Alaska, and it was originally oilcloth. And a lot of the loggers up there still use oilskins. They wear wool sweaters and they have oilskin jackets. And so this hat was actually an oilskin hat. And we are making an experiment to see how it works, and it seems to be doing very well. This is Japan dryer and linseed oil, and it's been drying in the sun for several days now. And it's been drying in the sun for several days now. We made sure to hold it in the wind so it doesn't get hot, because it's an exothermic reaction when linseed oil dries. So anyway, this is our latest experiment, is a waterproof hat.
So we have started to motor sail, pulled in the Genoa. The wind just simply died down to 3 knots and we were losing helm control. We made it about halfway through at a purist scale, but without helm control, it's quite miserable to try and sail. On our boat, we need about 4 knots to keep the sails filled, and once we dropped below 4, it wasn't worth trying to do that. Regardless, we've got the motor going, we've got the Genoa put in, and we are motor sailing for the moment.
Well, this is boring. True wind speed is 1 knot out of 020. Maybe 030, maybe 090, it varies. We were supposed to have 6 to 7 knots out of the south-southeast, but no, we have no wind at all. So we're motoring, we're belching diesel, and of course it wouldn't start again. When we got out of the inlet, we started sailing. About an hour later, maybe 2, we decided that the wind had died. We were going to start the engine, and of course the engine doesn't start. I still am tracking this wiring gremlin. I think it's on the ground side, but I don't know. But it's behind the instrument panel, that I do know.
It's really calm out here. You could probably come out.
Oh yeah, you can come out. There's not a wave in sight. I don't even see
Waves on the horizon.
It's glassy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is 4,000 feet deep.
Really?
Yeah.
So that means that little spit of land is the top of a 4,000 foot tall mountain.
Great harbor. When we rounded the top of that island,
Right?
remember, that was 5,000 feet, wasn't it?
5,000 feet deep.
And but it's almost that here. If it's 4,000, oh my gosh. But this is absolutely smooth water.
It is.
The wind decided to pick up. We've got 8 knots of wind. It's out of about 050, which is really good for heading to Mayaguana. So we're going to poke our heads out just around the point of land here at Long Island and see what the sea's like on the other side.
we don't like it, we can turn around or find an anchorage along the coast.
Yep. It's 120 miles to my iguana, so at 5 knots, we'd be there in 24 hours. I know you can't see it and it doesn't show on the video, but we have trade wind swells that are showing up now as we clear the point at Long Island. These things right now are only about 5 foot tall on about a 25 or 30 second period. They're big, long waves. And I remember from when we were out here before, these huge swells grow to 20, 30 feet. And then you get waves on top of them. It's a little terrifying when the waves are taller than your spreaders. I haven't been out here in the trades for 25 years, and this is the first time that I've seen these swells since then. You don't see them on the east coast of the U.S. You see these because the trades are coming off of Africa, and you've got the entire Atlantic for these waves to grow. You'll see them on the North Atlantic heading toward Ireland, but you don't see them going up the U.S. coast. Not like this. They're really beautiful. I wanted to come out here and see what the wind and the waves were like. We're going to make a starboard turn here and head on about 120 and see if we can make from my iguana directly. So we're going to see here in a minute. We might turn around and go back to Long Island, to the anchorage at the top, stay for a couple of days. The anchorage at the top of the island has no services. There's just one bar and restaurant there. That's really all that's there. The next services are Rum Key and my iguana. We decided to turn around. The wind was too close off the nose, and it was only 9 knots. So it was too close off the nose, only 9 knots.
What?
The winds were too close off the nose and only 9 knots. We were only making 2 knots of headway. It's not worth the effort.
So we'll stay the night, get up early tomorrow,
and see what we do tomorrow. Yep.
If you like the video you've just seen and you would like to see more, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.